principles and guidelines. 4.1.1 Identify key ethical principles in AI development. So the first one, which is the key principle in AI development, is transparency. So your AI systems should understand and explain to the stakeholders. There has to be a clear communication about how AI is making decisions. That basically talks about the principle of transparency. The second most important principle is your accountability. There should be a clear line of accountability for the AI decisions and the outcome. You need to ensure there is a recourse if AI causes harm. So that's the principle of accountability. The third is your fairness and equality. So your AI systems should avoid biases. It ensures equal treatment across all user groups. It also should prevent any kind of discriminatory outcomes. The next principle is your privacy and data protection. So need to respect for user privacy, and you should have a strict data protection in compliance with laws such as GDPR. Data minimizations and informed consents are definitely the key. The next principle is your safety and security. Your AI systems must be robust, reliable, and secured against misuse or malicious attacks. It should include the fail-safe or the risk mitigation. The last principle is human-centric design. So your AI should enhance the human capabilities, not replace or harm them. So keep human welfare and societal goods as the central objective whenever you are defining the key ethical principles for AI development. So now let's talk about summary of ethics in this AI Act. So the AI Act, which we discussed earlier, we will talk about the ethics and ethical development of AI in several key areas. So specifically now let's talk about the high-risk AI systems. In the case of high-risk AI system, the Act basically defines the rules to ensure your high-risk AI system protect public interest, and these public interests can be in the areas of health, safety, fundamental rights, aligning with the ethical guidance and international commitments. Also, there has to be some ethical guidance for trustworthy AI. Your AI Act reference to the 2019 guidance, which basically outlines 7 ethical principles to ensure your AI is trustworthy and ethically sound. The first one is your human agency and oversight, the technical robustness and the safety, privacy and the data governance, the overall elements of transparency, diversity and fairness, societal and environmental well-being, and finally the overall accountability, which is a key important parameter in the ethical usage of AI Act. So interpret the AI Act guidelines on the ethical AI development in the scenario. So now let's look at the ethical principles, the guidelines, and how it can be applied. So we are using the scenario of hiring. So we are basically seeing how the AI can be used in the case of hiring whenever we are working on it. So the AI powered hiring system is a classic use case in this example. So the first principle for ethical usage is your transparency. So as a part of transparency, the guideline says that your AI systems must be explainable and their decisions should be interpretable. The application for this ethical principle is you have to inform the candidates when you are using AI when they are being hired. You also need to provide a clear reasoning behind the applicant's ranking. So the next ethical principle is your fairness or the non-discrimination. So your AI system should avoid any kind of biases or discriminatory outcomes. The application is you need to regularly audit for the biased outcome. So you need to see Whenever there is a AI-driven hiring, there should not be any kind of biases based on the gender or the racial communication. You should also use the diverse training set to minimize any kind of inherent biases. The next ethical principle is your accountability. So guidelines says you need to clearly set the responsibility for the AI decisions and it has to be established quickly. The applications, so the HR team oversees the AI recommendations and then finally make the final decisions. So you need to ensure that we maintain the logs for every AI-based hiring decisions for auditing purpose. The next ethical principle is your privacy and data protection. So guidelines says you need to respect your user privacy and you need to comply with the data protection regulations. The application says you need to collect only the job relevant data. So you need to follow the principle of data minimization. Also, you need to ensure data security and candidates consent before processing any data. The next important principle is your safety and security. So the guideline says your AI systems must be robust and secure against the malicious actions. The application refers that you need to regularly have the security audits done for your AI system. You need to implement the safeguards against tampering or manipulations. Ethical principle, human oversights. As part of the guidelines, humans must have the ability to oversee and intervene in the AI decisions. You need to allow the recruiters to review, adjust, or override your AI decisions. You need to provide the candidates with the right to appeal AI-based outcomes. The last ethical principle, as we see, is your sustainability. So, your AI development basically consider the environmental impact and they should promote the responsible resource usage. In the case of its application, you need to optimize the algorithms for energy saving. We need to ensure there's a cloud services with lower carbon footprint being used. We should regularly assess and minimize the computational resource usage as well. Now let's talk about the summary of ethics in the AI Act. So you need to focus on the voluntary acts of conduct. So the AI Act basically encourages your AI service providers to create the code of conduct which focuses on the non-risk systems as well. Also, you need to voluntarily adopt the ethical principles and the best practices, specifically from the perspective of stakeholder involvement. You need to promote the inclusive development, which involves various stakeholders like your businesses, civil society, academia to ensure the diverse and ethical AI designs. You need to support for the ethical AI development. So as a part of this, you should encourage a human-centric approach by ensuring your AI system serves the people, respect the human dignity, and can be controlled by humans. The environmental and the social considerations. It means that you are suggesting the AI systems should be developed sustainably. They should be considered for the long-term societal and environmental impact. So these points basically outlines the AI Act's emphasis on integrating the ethical considerations into the AI development. So this also ensures the systems are aligned with the European values and global standards. So let's look at the explanations of term. Due diligence. So due diligence is a thorough process of examining how your AI systems might impact the human rights, identifying the potential risks and negative effects before deployment. Ethical guidelines. So these are the recommendations or principles that guides the moral development and use of AI systems, ensuring they are trustworthy and aligned with the societal value. Human rights practices. These ensures the AI systems respect, promote human rights such as dignity, equality, freedom, complying with the international standards. The impact assessment. It includes the evaluation of how the AI technologies might affect human rights, helping organizations identify the concerns, develop the strategies to mitigate the negative impacts. Privacy by design. So this integrates the privacy considerations into AI development from the onset, ensuring the data protection and user consent. The voluntary code of conduct. These are the self-imposed rules that organizations can choose to follow to maintain the ethical standards in AI development.